Hi, welcome to A2ZKnowledge.com. In this video, we are going to discuss about the data lake. So what is data lake? So before starting this video, I just recommend you to watch one more video, which is my previous video where I have explained various data layers. So we have various data layers. In that one layer is data lake. So if you see that video, you will come to know for what we are going to have this discussion and why we are getting into this topic. So you will come to know. Okay, so now we can enter into what is data lake. So data lake is like a place where all your source data will come into place. Okay, so from data lake you have to do all these various process like cleaning, cleansing, data quality checking, security, governance, a lot of things you have to do on top of those data. Data lake is not a tool, data lake is a concept. So we will be doing all these with some separate tools, and combination of all these tools and activities we call that as a data lake. It's a concept. Various tools we have to use to achieve this data lake concept. Okay, so people used to get confused when the data lake, we used to think like data lake is a tool. No, it's a concept and a process. And the very important thing is data lake, the terminology is very old. Some people are confusing with the new open source technologies like big data technologies. When it entered into picture, they think data lake is a very new term and only it is there in big data. No, data lake is very normal and very common process. Any traditional data warehouse database also do the data lake process. Even in big data also we do data lake process. So data lake process is something we do on top of data to present the data, to clean the data. So after presenting and cleaning and validating the data, what we are going to do with this data? See, I have a business requirement. I just need to find number of males and female visitor of my particular website. So for this, I need to first prepare a data. Okay, it got lot of data. I got 100, 200 columns and it came to a data lake, some place, some storage or some landing area it came. So where I have to do all this data lake process to give a pakka data, a very good data to the processing team. So the processing team will work on this data with the business query. So I am going to work for a processing team and processing team is going to work for the actual business peoples. Now, the very first process in the data lake, you can start from any place. So the very first thing is data quality. Okay, so we get some data with some issue. The source itself, the data will be issued. Okay, sometimes. So when it comes to my landing area where I am started doing the data lake process, the very first process is a quality checking. So I have to check the quality and data issues. Instead of saying quality, I have to check the data issue. Some example, the very first example is I have extracted, the data has been extracted from the source and I have loaded this into my somewhere in a file or a database somewhere I have loaded. Now when I go after loading this data which I got from my source and I'm just checking it, select count star from the table name. I am getting 10 records. Okay, I am just asking to my source team to execute the same count star from query in their system also. So after executing the query in their system for the same table, they are saying like it is 11. How come it is? See, you have extracted some data for me, you have given a data for me, you sourced some data to me. When I load it to my database, when I give select count star from, I am getting 10, but you are saying 11. So there is one record is missing. So we call this comparison between the source data and the destination data, we call it as reconciliation. Data reconciliation is not happening, it's not matching. So this is a data issue. And then for example, there is a one column which has an IP address. So I used to say the same example in my previous video also. There is a column called IP address where generally how your IP address looks like. For example, 10.0.1 point something. So you will be having only 3 dots in IP address, no 4 dots. But all of a sudden in 2-3 records I am getting 4 dots in IP. Then that is a data quality issue. It's a data issue. So for this, for identifying all these, we need to write a lot of programs. We call it as rules, data rules you have to write. So you can't able to identify all the rules at the same day. So step by step you will be getting some issue. Based on that we people will writing rules. Okay, so data rules you can write in Python or Java or even in SQL queries. You just prepare a rule and your data has to get satisfied with those rules. So once data quality is done, I can present this to next level, to for next level processing team. Okay, so this is all about data quality. Metadata management. First of all, what is metadata? Metadata, data about data is called metadata. So you are asking me what is your name? I am saying my name is Gautam. Then you are asking me to which company you are working for. So you first asked for a data. I just gave a data, that's my name. Then again for that data you need a data. So data about data is metadata. So here I have a lot of data, a lot of columns, a lot of rows. I need to know how many tables I'm having, and in each table how many rows and columns I'm having, and what is the size of data and where it gets stored. All these information about the table I have to store somewhere, information about a table or information about a file. So I have to just maintain a metadata. And then comes security. Of course, security is otherwise called as data governance. Okay, I didn't mention here, but you just want to note it down, means please note it down. So data governance, otherwise called as security. So we have to create some security layers for safeguarding the data, like creating an access. For example, only this particular user is to access. So you fix some permission on the files and folders and data. And for example, create user logins and password for your developers in your team, so that you will come to know who is accessing the data, who have read permission, write permission, and we need to worry about the some executable script which causes some damage like virus, something like that. So we need to secure the data. So that layer also we do in data lake. And then comes admin. So admin activity. So whatever the installation or configuration kind of tools and techniques, whatever you are going to use for data lake, those admin activities you will be doing. Then auditing and logging. That is very important. Whatever the process you do, that you have to log everything. So generally in programming language, we in Java, for example, we have system.out.println. In C we have printf. In C++ we have cout. So something we print. So that is something like a log. We are just having a log. So even once some damages happens with the process, we used to check the log, what happened. Okay, so all the activities you have to log. Okay, so even I'm said like you have to write some program to do the data quality check. I said write a Python program or a Perl program. So you need to write logs. Program successfully completed. There was an issue. Some logs. Okay, so for example, data quality. Some data has been got some issue, major issue, and I have to log it. Says like this particular record is invalid. So that by seeing the log, I can speak with the source team. I can send this log as in a mail to source team saying that there is an issue in the data. You have to correct the data from your side, or I will come to know whether the data issue from the source, the data got issue, or once it got reached to my data lake, there the issue got created. So I need to know all this, right? Logging is very important. And comes data life cycle management, life cycle of your data. Okay, so the general life cycle of data management is share the data and then archive the data in case of you don't have disk, optimized archiving, and destroy it. So in some companies, like we process data, once the processing is completed, what we do, we just delete the data. That's all. Process is completed, report has been extracted and given. So why should I have to have the data? Right. So some people will keep the data even after processing is done. Some people will have this data for 7 days, 5 days, 6 days, that based on your particular project and company's retention policy. We call it as retention. You delete data after this time period, that is retention. So share, archival, and destroy is all, it comes under kind of the data life cycle management. And data scheduling, yes, of course I need a scheduler, because the entire data lake process has to run for hourly once or weekly once or daily once. These kind of schedulings I have to do so that the process will get automated. So general, like you have cron jobs, right? In Linux we say cron, in Java we say cron, and we have Woozy in big data open source technology, which is a component called Woozy will schedule the stuff. So this data scheduling tools. And then lineage. Okay, lineage is some kind of a purely optional. You need to know the lineage of your data, how the first initially how the data was, then how the data has been transformed, and again how the data has been transformed. This lineage has to be maintained and it has to be get recorded. So all these, for all these layers, we have separate tools and components, and combine of all these we call it as data lake process. Okay, so this video is all about just explain you one layer which is called data lake, and that data lake has a life cycle layers called all these layers. And I'm sure that the data lake process is, it's varies companies to companies. Even if you Google it, right, so you will be getting only 30 or 40% of information what I said will match with internet. Okay, some sites, in some sites it will match with 15, some site it will match with 80. So data lake underlying things is you listen the data, and you present the data, and you do life cycle management on the data, you do security for the data, means all these process, simply to say present the data to the next layer, processing team. So they need a good quality of data, right? They can't spend that much amount of time to maintain the quality and the life cycle management and security. These things and all they can't do. They will just work for the business process, the logics. They have to write some programs and queries. Even you are doing the same, but you are doing that for the qualities. But they used to do for the business. Okay, always there will be a two different team. That's very important to notice. There's two different team. And like I advise you and recommend you to watch the one more video which is very important for the people who are watching this data lake. So that is called data layers. What are all the various data layers that you have? We have 7-8 data layers are there. In that one data layer is data lake. Okay, and I have given that video link also in the description box of this video. Just watch the data layers video too. Thanks for watching A to Z knowledge.com. If you really like this video, subscribe my channel and forward this to your friends and colleagues. And we have many other technology videos, and we do videos in two languages, English and Tamil. Thanks for watching.